Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another session with Mr. Smith, your humble servant. Hopefully, always humble. Not always easy to do, is it? To be humble, but it must be done. So, we are going to. I'm hoping to make this a series or a group of videos about looking at different television shows and seeing how these shows are manipulating you, brainwashing you, socially engineering you. And today we're going to look at a couple of Family Guy clips. Now, if you don't know Family Guy, it's a very successful adult animated comedy. And I enjoyed it. I still enjoy some clips. I'll watch some clips on YouTube. However, the clips I'm about to show you really kind of turned me off this show. The clips I'm about to show you really did it for me as far as Family Guy, as far as not liking it anymore. But before we do that, right, you see this quote on the screen: television is not the truth. I'm sorry, television is not about the truth, it is about creating reality. And I couldn't have said it better myself. This is a quote from Daniel Estulin, Estulin, the writer of the book Tavistock Institute, Social Engineering the Masses. This guy's done a lot of research, he's done his homework, and it is a really, really great book. So if you want to get it, it's on Amazon. It's not that expensive. And I was just reading today in his book about, he's showing how all the entertainment companies are connected to the banks, to the Rockefeller Rothschild groups, to, it's all connected to this, to the powers that be around the world. Right? And there is no doubt that television and other forms of media are war tactics. They're psychological warfare. They say all is fair in love and war, so, warfare, there's no rules. You can brainwash people through TV if you're at war with them. Now you're saying, Mr. Smith, what are they? They're at war with us? Who are they? Well, these people, they serve Lucifer. And Lucifer is at war with humanity. And it's interesting, the scriptures do say that Lucifer will screw over the people that help him in the end. But right now he's using them. And again, if you guys are not into the scriptures, or you don't believe in the gods or whatever, then what I just said you might not agree with, but hey, it is true. Now, let's get to this Family Guy thing, right? Now, in my last video, I talked about how Sex and the City, the show Sex and the City, totally changed women's attitudes towards just, having sex like crazy and just enjoying going around and having sex with multiple men and doing all that. But what we're finding is that it's damaging to women. And we talked about that in the last video, right? And shout out to Undead Chronic and MGTOW Monk. Those are two channels that, those are two guys that are really, they go hard, man. They don't hold anything back when it comes to how damaging a lot of our women are. And hey, ladies, the men are just as damaged, but in different ways, right? We're all dysfunctional, and that's what they want, right? They meaning the enemy. Anyway, let's get back to the task at hand. The Family Guy clips. Now, these clips are about a character in the show. He's the Griffin's neighbor. He's a really old man, Mr. Herbert, and he is a pedophilie. And they make you know, they make no bones about it that he likes the little ones, right? I'm trying to keep this video from being taken down. Okay, so I'm going to use that anyway. But Mr. Herbert is a sick man, but you're going to see they make him out. They want you to see him as okay. Let's take a look. Okay, so you see on the screen there's Mr. Herbert on the left, and he's having dinner with the teenage son of the Griffins named Chris. And Chris has been doing like chores around his house to help Mr. Herbert out. And Mr. Herbert is taking Chris out to dinner as a reward for his hard work. Let's take a look.
Mr. Herbert.
Oh, I wanted to thank you properly for all your hard work.
Souvenir photograph?
Hell yes.
Okay, so what do you notice? Here comes the dramatic music, completely designed to tug at your heartstrings, make you go, oh, right? To get in touch with your feelings. And you're also going to, if you listen to the lyrics, it's also a very comedic lyric. So it puts they use comedy to make things okay, to normalize things, right? Oh, he's not so bad. He's just an old guy. Wrong! He's a PED, blah, 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 as I said before. Here we go.
He rakes and trims the grass. He loves to mow and weed. I cook like Betty Crocker, and I look like Donna Reed. There's plastic on the furniture to keep it neat and clean. In the pine so scented air, somewhere that's green. Between our frozen dinners and our bedtime, 9:15, we snuggle watching Lucy on a big, enormous 12-inch screen. I'm his December bride. Chris Griffin, he knows best. The kids play howdy doody as the sun sets in the west. A picture out of Better Homes and Gardens magazine. Someday I know we two will go somewhere that's green.
Are you dead?
Man, this is wicked. This is wicked. They play that heart-wrenching music. They use comedy to get you to relax and, oh, maybe Mr. Herbert's not such a bad guy. After all, he's just an old man. And what do? They make it seem like Mr. Herbert wants to be a wife. He wanted to be a woman all along. And what else did they use? They always refer to the 1950s. Right? All that stuff was 1950s. Right? Because everybody was told that the 1950s was oppressive it was so racist, and it was oppressive to, alternative lifestyles, and people couldn't be themselves in the 1950s. Well, I know some people whose parents, and these are black folks, and they said they had it better in the 1950s. They were classier. Their lives were better. So don't buy into that lie that it was such an oppressive time. Okay, my mom was a teenager and in the 1950s, and they knew about like gays and stuff. They just, nobody ever talked about it. It was just people minding their business. Okay, but see how they're doing this? And of course, young people watch The Family Guy, right? The Family Guy was from late 90s up until the present, I think. But it's a big middle school, high school, college age show. And, right, young people at that age believe that we're changing, we're getting better, it's progressive, right? The past is the past, we're moving forward, we're changing, we're improving society, right? That's the Marxist, communists always use that to lure the young people. No, the truth is they're using the same tactics they've always had. No new thing under the sun. But you see how they do this 50s motif with this Mr. Herbert guy, as if, now things are going to change, right? Oh, if he had just been able to transgender himself and be who he really is, he wouldn't be into the little ones. He would get married, right? You see how they do this? So, it's time to wake up. No, Mr. Herbert is, just because he's old doesn't mean he's okay. He's still a pervert. And he never addressed his issue, right? So you see how they're getting us to accept his proclivity towards young ones instead of reprimanding him severely, which should be done. If you reprimand these people severely, it'll force them to address their issue and change. Right? We've gotten too soft as a society. But let's look at the next one, and you'll see more manipulation here with Mr. Herbert. Okay, in this clip, Mr. Herbert finds out that Chris has been hanging with another old man, and this other old man just happens to be an ex-Nazi or Nazi. And Mr. Herbert fought in World War II for the American side, and this Nazi you're going to see in a second fought on the Nazi side. And so, yeah, well, let's take a look.
I'm here for the boy.
I'm here for the boy. Not funny. Not funny at all. In fact, it's quite disgusting. Let's listen.
Who are you?
Oh, you don't remember me? Well, I remember you, Lieutenant Schlecknacht. But then why should you remember? There were so many of us. But frankly, I don't give a damn. And I'll tell you this, only one of us is gonna walk out of here alive.
Bring it on!
Okay, so I cut out a bunch of the fight scene because it was kind of insufferable. These two old guys fighting, and they had to stop and take their pills. But anyway, you see what they're doing here? Mr. Herbert, the guy that likes the little ones and should be in jail, and in fact, if the men in the community should be beating him half to death for touching little ones. But they make him into a good guy. He's a Nazi fighter. And what is that with the whole Nazi thing? They always bring the Nazis and Hitler back into things and all these. Remember all these shows and stuff. Remember they compared Saddam Hussein to the next Hitler, and they had all those propaganda videos in the mid 2000s and early 2000s. Oh my gosh. But Mr. Herbert here, he's a good guy. He's even trying to save the Nazi here. He's not so bad.
Say good night, you Nazi bastard.
Yay! The man that is sick in the head and wants to play with the little ones, if you know what I mean. But he killed the evil Nazi bastard. So he's okay. See what they're doing? They're trying to show you that these PEDOSs, they're not bad people. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you see them as good or bad. They're dealing with children, and we're letting this happen. You know, there's laws in California now that are leaning towards lessening sentences and for people who sleep with underage people. We're going that way, right? They're going to make this PEDOS stuff just another sexuality. They can't help themselves. I've even seen 2 TED Talks where the women that got up there and talked to the audience are trying to get the audience to accept that it's just another sexuality. Okay, but you see how they're doing this? You see, this is just another example of how they're social engineering us. They're getting us to be okay with the Mr. Herberts of the world. And we shouldn't be okay. We got to stop tolerating this stuff. It's for our children. Also, it just came to me. Did you notice that Chris, who's hanging with this old Nazi that lives in the neighborhood, the parents don't rescue Chris. The parents don't go to the house. The parents don't investigate why Chris is hanging around with this old man. It's the Mr. Herberts of the world, the PEDOS, etc. guy that comes in and rescues Chris, or attempts to rescue Chris from the evil Nazi, right? The parents are nowhere to be found. I just find that also something to think about. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Please like and subscribe. I hope this is unplugging you from TV. Try to watch less and less of that stuff. Get a hobby. Get an acoustic guitar and practice, whatever. Do some things that are not TV related. This is your humble servant, Mr. Smith. I hope you have a blessed day, evening, and we'll see you on the next one.